I'd love to show you how my hopes and dreams became the perfect office for me. Hi, this is T with this Deluxe Life TV. Welcome back. Thank you for spending these next few minutes with me as I reveal my home office. My husband and I moved into our semi-custom build in August 2021, and already this space has had several iterations. Here's a look at how it started. These double doors will be my office when we come through. So my plant mama heart is happy because of all of the light in this space. It actually feels a lot roomier than it looks probably on camera, but my desk will be here and I'll be sitting out to see the world. I absolutely love interior design, but designing my entire home from scratch while going through the build process, while navigating the unfortunate losses of several loved ones, while trying to figure out quarantine and the emotions around the global panorama that was happening then. It was too much, to be quite honest. It was just daunting. We knew we weren't bringing very much furniture with us from the old place at all. And our new home was much larger, and just trying to figure that out was a lot. And so I enlisted the incredible Katrina Wyrick via a service called Havenly to get me going in the right direction. Not only is she a talented designer, but she didn't balk at all when I wanted to be completely hands-on. I got to benefit from her expertise. She knew about retailers I had never even heard of, and items I hadn't thought of. And I also just really appreciated having the renderings to help me envision the space. As hands-on as I was, I really needed Katrina's help in sourcing the perfect standing desk, the perfect office chair, and the perfect area rug. And you will see that she delivered big time, even coming up with another chair alternative when the one we wanted sold out. And when I shared my vision, I told Katrina that I wanted it to look like a creative badass with impeccable taste works here. And I think we accomplished that. Let's look at the renderings. When it came to the rooms that we worked on together, these designs were completed really before there were even walls. So that meant that the measurements weren't exactly what we thought they'd be. We also didn't know where vents would be placed, so that changed things too. Even though the final implemented design departs from this, I did start out as I originally envisioned, with my desk facing those two primary windows. We live on a tiny little island, and so I do have a little peek of a water view, and I really wanted to maximize that. You wanted to look out into the expanse. Ultimately, it was too cramped in that position because, as you'll see in this next rendering, the settee had to move. So we originally wanted the settee in front of those main windows, but there ended up being vents placed in the floors there. And so that meant that if the settee was to remain in that position, that it would have to move like a foot away from the wall, which meant that one of the doors wouldn't open all of the way, which meant that there was only a sliver of walking space. So I ended up moving the settee to the window wall to the right of your screen. And I kept it like that for a little while, but it just became too cramped of having to cut through the little opening between the settee and the desk. And it also just moved the whole design of the room to one side. So that window area in the front just became like plant central. And then all of the furnishings in this tiny, less than 10 by 10 room, just moved to this one side of the room. It was not working. So let me show you how this design took a turn. And it really started with moving the desk. I still have not settled on wallpaper for this wall, but the art, I'm calling this my women's empowerment wall. I feel like our spaces should not only tell a story, but say a lot about us as individuals. I wanted the art to speak to my sisterly love for women in general and women of the African diaspora specifically. One of the things I wanted to encourage you about art, whether you collect original art or whether you buy mass produced art, buy what you love and also take your time. Allow it to evolve naturally. It doesn't all have to be perfect immediately. It doesn't all have to be ready for little Instagram squares. And here's an example of an imperfection. The frame broke for this piece in our move, and I'm hanging my art binder clip to the rescue. Can we have a moment of appreciation for this settee? This was a hand-me-down from my father about 8 years ago, and I am so happy to have it in my office. And this little image, this vignette, is really a great example of my design concerns. I want, give me color, give me texture, give me pattern, give me natural, but also give me pops of bling. Like, I love it all. And it has to say something too. Like, I don't want just a pretty picture. I want you to know something about me when you enter my spaces. And so often you'll see things that harken to the African diaspora. Often you'll see something that harkens to writers and writerly concerns because I am a writer. Often you'll see, kind of like these natural things as well as these glam things because I'm both of those. So, make sure that when you're designing your space, that it also says who you are. So there's a whole lot of tea in this vignette. I absolutely have to shout out Katrina for this area rug. I don't think it would have spoken to me had I come across it on my own. The colors and the overall vibe just work so well though. And really, it's just like this beautiful base for the other colors, pattern, textures. It ties it together. It also sets it apart. It's just really gorgeous. And I'm like so happy about it. The standing desk is super functional. I just love the way it blends into the neutral aspects of the room so that everything else really just shines. And before you say anything about my cord management, remember it's a standing desk. So the cords have to be able to move with the desk. Here's a view from the settee. This ottoman is perfect for stretching my legs, and the desk is flanked by bookcases. On the right is what I'm calling the true bookcase. I knew I wanted this bookcase before I even had an office. And on the left is like the functional bookcase, and I'll show you that in a minute. This bookcase holds my printer, books that I adore, and a few personal mementos. Plants, of course. This room gets such great light. And this sweet photo of hubby and I on our wedding day. And souvenirs from a trip. This little bird reminds me of God's goodness. And of course, more plants. I just want to mention the ceiling fan. I love the modern edge to the dual blades. The wood tones also play very well to balance some of the glam elements. Art is so important to me, and I want to say thank you to artist Amy Sherald, who has no idea who I am, but back in 2016, I think, she made some of her images available online, and I have carried these printouts with me since. I found these perfect frames at HomeSense recently, and finally they're on the wall instead of in a folder. And on the floor there, you'll see just a bin where I have some of the books that I'm reading or about to read. Here's that functional shelving unit. I don't have room for a filing cabinet, so I really needed room for documents, notebooks, recording equipment. I'm also not much of a filer, so just like a bin that I can put it in, it's in that bin. That works for me. So I have my vision board at the top so that I can see it from my desk. The top two shelves are devoted to my plant babies that need humidity, and I've recently started keeping my diffuser running in that area for them. And then the bottom two shelves are more utilitarian so that I can just have some place to store the extra little things that I need access to regularly. You'll notice that I really don't mind pattern mixing. So if you buy or repurpose things you love, it will almost always come together in a way that is pleasing to you. Most of the accessories currently in this room were things that I've had for a long time or were purchased for other areas of the house, but just worked better here. So that's it. Let me know what you think. I'm really like cheesing and like my shoulders are in my ears and I'm kind of like making myself small a little bit like, oh my God, I showed them me. So this is me, y'all. This is me. I really hope you like it. I hope you enjoyed my office tour. I plan on doing more of these for other areas of our home. And if you'd like to hear about our home building process, Kareem and I are also down to discuss that. So with that, like this video, subscribe, and until next time, find what makes your life deluxe.